the Lord. Dear Let us bow our heads and put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank your name. You have showered us with so many blessings, and your presence continuously remind us of your faithfulness and guidance. May we ask for your blessing and divine providence that the activities set for this undertaking be successful and effective. May we humbly ask you to shower our speakers today with your greatest inspiration so that they may share the most heart to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge and learning experiences that we derive from this webinar and put into practice what we may learn today. We pray that you bless the Regalo Touching Lives coordinators, that they may be able to fulfill their task responsibly, that the objectives they have set may all be achieved. Your infinite blessing would mean the success of this webinar. May we be living witnesses of your genuine love, through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again in another webinar of Regalo Touching Lives. So today po ang ating webinar will be about public speaking. So meron po tayong dalawang parts ngayon. The first part is about practical tips for public speaking, and then the second part is how Toastmasters can help you. Okay. I can see po sa chat box na today, we are joined by librarians or people sa iba't ibang parts ng Philippines. Kanina nakita ko merong Bukawi, Bulacan, merong Tugigaraw, merong Tarlac, and ako po ay from Malabon. So again, good morning po everyone. Okay. So I forgot to introduce myself. By the way, I am Vin de la Cruz from Regalo Touching Lives. I am one of the coordinators for this webinar. Okay, so first, some house rules. Okay, so Tristan, is the deck ready to share? Okay, so just a moment po. All right, okay. Miss Mills, kaya po bang okay. Thank you so much for screen sharing po. Okay, so again, the first talk would be about practical tips for public speaking. It would be led by James Isaac Ezekiel. Um, and then the second part would be how Toastmasters can help you, to be led by Sir Anthony Jake Duran. Okay, so first, some house rules. Alam ko na familiar na kayo with the house rules since I recognize some of the names. I recognize that some of you have attended our webinars before. Okay, so the first webinar house rule is to please mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Baka mamaya yung conversation sa bahay niyo maging viral. So let the conversations at home be private. Make sure po na nakamute tayo. Okay, and then for the next house rule, okay, the second one is please respect the speaker by listening attentively and write the important notes from the presentation being discussed. So it's 9 a.m. in the morning. So some of us medyo inaantok pa. One way para magising aside from drinking coffee this morning is by taking down notes and by attentively listening to the speaker. Okay. Third house rule. Okay, so if you have questions, please use the chat box po. We have several Regalo Touching Lives volunteers in the Zoom room. They will make sure that your questions will be checked and itatanong natin sa speakers. Okay, for the next one. Okay, so be mindful of what you are wearing when you are in a video conference from home. So hindi naman po required na mag-turn on tayo ng video, pero just in case na accidentally ma-turn on nyo yung video nyo, just make sure that you look presentable. So we are librarians, we are professionals, and this is a professional meeting. Okay, number 5. Okay, so the fifth one is check your internet connection, headset, microphone, and web camera. So hindi natin totally control yung connection natin, unfortunately. Pero let's check what we can so that we will not miss anything. Okay. And then the next webinar rule. Okay, so stay focused, avoid multitasking. This is very tempting, very easy to do. Dali-daling mag-multitask ngayon. Pero as a respect to our speakers and also para hindi nyo ma-miss yung learnings for today, let's stay focused, 100% of our attention. Okay, and then the last one. Okay, ask permission to speak whenever you wanted to clarify something or share ideas. I think meron po tayong raise hand feature sa Zoom. Pwede po natin itong gamitin. And meron din po tayong Q&A portion mamaya. Okay, and then next slide, please. Okay, our speaker is raising his hand. Mamaya na, James. Okay, so for the next one, claiming of certificates. This, very popular itong question na to, no? Meron bang certificate? Ang sagot ni RTL is yes, laging merong certificate. Paano kayo makakuha ng certificate? So at the end po ng webinar, magkakaroon kami ng evaluation link and then you have to answer that evaluation form. And i-remind ko lang po na hindi namin manually nilalagay yung mga pangalan nyo sa certificates. So if ever merong typographical error, nagkamali kayo sa pagsulat ng pangalan nyo, mag-reflect po yon sa certificate. So before nyo po ipasa yung evaluation, make sure po na tama yung name nyo. Okay, and moving on. Okay, so again, thank you everyone for joining our webinar for today. We are 69 strong, okay, and we are hoping na dadami pa mamaya. Okay, and then, okay, so for the next one. All right, so we have come to the part of the webinar. Kung saan we will share some tips about public speaking. James, before I introduce you, ready ka na ba? Before I read your introduction. Are you ready, James? James, pakigalaw yung baso. Oh, okay. Ayan, nag-on yung
ready.
video niya. I think you look ready. Kagagaling lang po niya sa work shift. Wala pa po siyang tulog. Sorry, James. Thank you, James. Okay. So before ipasa yung spotlight kay James, I just want to introduce him first. Okay, so James, he started his Toastmasters journey at age 22, at a very young age of 22. Wag po nating tanungin kung ilang taon na siya ngayon. He joined
Hindi ako
fourth one.
nahihiya.
Okay, wag na natin i-disclose. So he joined Fort Bonifacio Toastmasters Club at 22. He joined various speech contests within the organization. He held multiple leadership and meeting roles and helped maintain the club's legacy of passionate leadership and excellence. Okay, so first he became president in 2018. He became area director in 2019, and then inulit niya yung pagiging presidente noong 2021. Hindi siya nagsawa. And finally, he achieved the distinguished Toastmasters. Sa club po na Toastmasters, ito yung highest distinction na pwedeng i-award sa isang member. So outside Toastmasters, he considers himself a fun-loving, chill guy. Totoo ba? So he loves watching anime and is currently trying to finish Naruto on Netflix. Matagal yan. I know na merong 500 plus episodes in Naruto. Okay, and he wants his anime English dubbed. Ayaw po niyang magbasa ng subs. So English dubbed dapat. So he loves cooking and he's trying to perfect his cooking technique by watching videos of Ninong Rai, Panlasang Pinoy, and Vincenzo's Fate. So he's currently in the process of starting a small food business and about to start investing in the stock market. So good luck. Good luck, James. So he loves having shots of tequila with his friends. He dislikes online drinking sessions kasi bad daw siya for the health. He prefers drinking face-to-face with his buddies. So in other words, mahilig po siyang magwalwal. And most importantly, in case may nagtatanong, I feel wala naman nagtatanong. He is a president taken by his vice president. So he's off the market. Okay, so again, thank you, James, for accepting my invite of being the resource speaker for today. Okay, so now the spotlight is yours.
Okay, salamat ng marami ha, Vin. Okay, so good morning, everyone. How are you? Hello?
We're good.
Okay, sige, fine. All right, so yung iba sa atin medyo inaantok pa or tulog pa, but that's fine. So my name is James. I will be your speaker for this morning. Okay? Now, for this morning, we will talk about how to do public speaking. But first, okay, I want to ask you, why are we here? We're almost everybody in this room is a librarian. May I ask, what can public speaking do for you? Can somebody raise their hands or tatawag ba ako? Anyone? Okay. May I ask? Hmm. May I ask Lex Anova? Lex? Okay, sige. All right. So medyo ano tayo. So we're here to actually have what you would Vin, Vin. This is not the
Miss James.
maling deck to.
Maling deck ba 'to? Sige, sige.
Yeah, yung color
Tristan,
black.
the other deck, the black one.
Yeah.
Okay, my fault, my fault. Sorry,
Okay.
bloopers, guys. Ako pala yung walang tulog, hindi pala ikaw. Okay. So, going back sa question mo kanina, what can public speaking do for us? Okay. So, some
Yes.
of us, I think some of us nagma-masters dito. Maraming mga librarians na
Mm-hmm.
nagma-masters. And when we
Okay.
present our thesis, kahit na ang ilang months mo siyang pinaghandaan, ilang months mo siyang ni-research, pero on the presentation day, kinakabahan ka pa rin. So, parang asa na
Mm-hmm.
yung ilang months na trinabaho? Ayun. So, that's I think one way na nakakatulong sa atin yung public speaking. And some
Okay.
of the librarians here, I think they are also involved in different advocacies. Like me, I'm part of the storytelling project. So
Oh.
minsan, yes. So the storytelling project, minsan we have to share about our advocacy, anong ginagawa namin sa org,
Mm-hmm.
ayun. So
Okay.
yeah, we do get public speaking opportunities sometimes. Ayan, tama na yung deck.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
Vin.
very much. Okay, so thank you so much, Vin. Yeah, I've already attended the one of that storytelling projects events a few years ago, and yeah, it was great. Now, okay, so on public speaking, now I'm going to talk to you about number one, the three elements of a public speech. Okay, got it. Okay, now. So first of, so the parts of a speech. Now, first is content, delivery, and organization. Okay. Now, for the content, so ito yung gusto mong sabihin sa harapan ng mga tao. Okay? Yung gusto mong ipahiwatig, yung mga ideas and opinions mo, and anything that you can actually show, anything that would manifest through your own words or mga visual aids mo. So we must be very careful whenever we actually generate these types of content because it would actually affect everything. Okay, this is the number one thing that would actually make or break the entire public speech. Okay, now, but this is not only just this is not just only on public speaking. Okay, this can also be through interaction as well. Kung anong gusto mong sabihin mo sa ibang tao, ganyan that's how it's going to work at that point. And then the delivery, it's how you say it, of course. So this includes physical gestures, yung eye contact mo sa mga tao. Of course, you as a person, gusto mo na tinitignan ka ng mga tao, and based on your delivery, this is one of the biggest things that would actually affect how people would listen to you. Okay? So number one is eye contact. Here in Zoom, medyo mahirap siya at this point, okay? Because we have a tendency na mas titignan natin yung picture natin dito sa monitor rather dun sa mga ibang tao. Actually, mahirap nga talaga ang mismong eye contact. But there is a technique which is titingin ka mismo sa mismong camera. All right? I myself have some difficulty in doing that, but still we actually have to kailangan natin tiyagain. In Toastmasters, we actually do our best to actually maintain that kind of delivery that we allow that we want. We try to emulate as much as we can with the face-to-face meetings. Then, okay, body movement. So still in Zoom, medyo mahirap siya, but you can still use your hands, okay? This is how you project yourself. This allows you to make certain points. And then another very important thing will be the manner of speaking, which is the tempo, the volume, and the tone. So sometimes this actually allows you to help. This is one of the main ingredients to make sure na your particular speech is makes it more interesting. It allows you to invoke the it allows you to capture the attention of your audience themselves. So it has the tempo, the volume, the loudness and softness, okay, and the tone. Now, at this point, this allows you to make sure that you invoke emotions, okay? Why do you want to invoke emotions? Sometimes it just allows you to make sure that you are able to have that captive audience. If you want to if you want to have if you want to if you have a call to action that allows passion, you have to strengthen that tone or perhaps increase that tempo, okay? But if not, then you soften it, okay? If you want people to reflect, okay, perhaps the technique there is to lower your voice, reduce your tempo, and perhaps even lower your tone a bit. Okay. Now, for the delivery, oh wait, sorry. Now for the last part will be the organization. This determines how easily your audience follows your message. Okay. So one of the biggest tips here is number one, do not ramble. Don't say this and then jump to another part of your presentation and then jump to this part of your presentation. Maggugulo siya. So to make sure that your speech is well followed by your audience, to maintain their attention, you have to make sure that you practice, okay? Practice from start to finish your presentation and see to it. Try to see, is your speech okay? Do you think people can actually follow what you're saying or not? Okay? And then the next part is okay, sorry. So we're done with the three different parts of a public speech or three different parts of speeches. I mean, uh, spe- uh, three different parts of the speech. Okay, now the next one will be the types of speeches. So we have the prepared speech and the impromptu speech. Okay, so we have prepared speeches. What are these prepared speeches? Number one, okay, your thesis defense. Okay, some of you are actually master's degree students. Some of you are college level. So yeah, before you can actually even start to before you can even deliver your speech, you have to prepare for it, right? You don't go on a thesis defense na kung saan na magbaba mag baba sorry, I'm looking for the word, which is magbabara-bara ka lang. You don't just wing it, you have to prepare for it, right? And then if you're going to speak in front of a crowd, perhaps sa isang wedding, or perhaps sa isang eulogy, you have to think about what you can. Okay, what can you say about the couple? What can you say about this departed person? Because pagka binarabara mo siya, okay, what will happen there is you might end up saying something that is inappropriate. And then the next one is the impromptu speech, okay? Sometimes biglaan, sometimes on the spot may magtatanong lang sa iyo, what would happen? What is your opinion on this? What is your opinion on that? In the workplace specifically, we have to be very careful in practicing this part, impromptu speech, okay? When your boss would actually come to you and saying, how is this project? Ano na ang report sa sales natin? Of course, the worst answer that you can give is, I don't know. Okay? So what happens there is that you have to make sure that you have to be ready. Kailangan minsan rin magpapalusot ka. If you sometimes okay, sometimes perhaps your girlfriend or your boyfriend will tell you, asan ka? And in reality, nasa party ka. Sasabihin mo, nandito ako sa bahay. Nag-ano. So how do you explain yourself? Okay? This can also be easily be used even for your personal life or even your professional life. Now, let's go on to the next part, which is okay. So here's are some tips for successful prepared speeches. Okay. So number one, research. Okay. You have to do your research. See to it na maayos yung mga binabasa mo. Credible ba ang sources mo? And in case that worst comes, and in case somebody would question you can always cite your sources. Okay, you have to research, perhaps check on check Google. Okay, check YouTube. That's also one way to actually do research. You can also check documentaries, and then of course you have to practice. So sometimes kahit isang pasada lang, okay na yung practice mo. But there are people na gaya ko, kailangan mag-practice ka pa na mag-practice para ma-perfect mo yung de-deliver mong speech. Yung de-deliver mong presentation, yung de-deliver mong perhaps a panel defense or perhaps a thesis defense, are you going to deliver what you call that? Are you going to deliver your speech there na walang practice? That's a little hard, right? Okay. Now, and then the last and most important thing is know your context. Okay. So number one, the audience. Try to find out sino mga kausap mo. Are you going to talk to executives? Or are you going to talk to little children? Are you going to because this would affect how you would deliver your message. Okay. Now, whenever you talk to your whenever you talk to like say business executives or perhaps your professors, of course you would like to talk to them like adults. Okay, you want to make sure that you are able to talk, like you are able to tell them the entire aspect, the most important aspects of whatever it is you want to talk about. If you're talking to children, you have to be very basic, okay? You have to make sure that even a child would understand what you are saying. So you have to avoid all the unnecessary jargon. You have to make sure that you avoid all the unnecessary confusion, because I can recall something that was said by by a writer. If you can't let 8-year-old understand what you are saying, then you yourself do not understand. So try to practice. What Try to practice. Explain what you do to a little boy or a little girl. See if they can understand. That's how you actually make sure that you are able to present properly. Okay. And then know the technicalities. Try to confirm, are there any system limitations? Okay. Like for example, my sound system ba to? Are you going my sound system ba to? Meron bang like say problems sa may problems ba sa lighting? Okay? You also want to make sure may time limit ba ang mismong sinasabi mo? Like for me, I think half na ng time ko na consume ko na. That's fine. Okay. And then of course, the time and location of your presentation. Are you going to deliver in an auditorium? Are you going to deliver on Zoom? Because there's going to be different approaches there. Or are you going to make sure, or are you going to deliver one-on-one, face-to-face, which is actually something that is very difficult at that point. Okay, so you don't act, so you want to make sure that your audience is the people that you want to make sure that your own technicalities, your content, your presentation, anything else is in line with what the audience want, or what the audience can comprehend. You have to make sure that the sounds are good. Sometimes the slides would actually be problematic at that point. Okay, and then yeah. And of course, the time, like for example, ganitong umaga, a lot of us are actually bagong gising. Okay? You might want to consider, masyado ba silang inaantok? Should I prolong my own presentation or not? And then, okay, so those are the things that you can do to have a successful prepared speech. Now, this is for prepared speeches. Now, what if you're going to do impromptu speaking? Okay. Now, the next thing that you ought to do to have successful impromptu speeches, of course, broaden your perspective. You will be asked a random question. Okay. What is your opinion on the upcoming 2022 election? What if I ask you something like that? Can anybody answer? Would somebody care to answer that? Who will you be voting for the 2022 election? And
Gusto
then
niyo mas ang aga-aga divisive. So,
syempre hindi pa naman ako nagtatanong, 'di ba? I mean,
okay. Sorry.
okay. And then the next question is why? So of course you have to be able to defend your opinion. The last thing that you want whenever you're giving an impromptu speech is not being able to defend what you have to say. All right, because it affects your credibility if you're unable to defend your own opinions on the matter. Okay, and then of course accumulate. So you broaden your perspective at this point by number one, reading. Read the newspaper, read the news, check legitimate resources. Sometimes even illegitimate resources can have their own, what you would call, their own small bits of credibility, but sometimes they don't. Okay, check legitimate resources. Read, watch documentaries, as I mentioned earlier. See what you can actually research, not just on one topic, okay? It can be on various topics, because what's gonna happen there is that you're going to see to what's gonna happen there is that, of course, impromptu questions are very, how you would say, impromptu questions are come out all of a sudden. So uh, you might want to see what you can, learn what you can about anything on any subject matter. That way, whatever questions that may come upon you, you might be able to answer. Okay, and then The second tip is to accumulate experience. What do you mean by that? Accumulate experience by always answering impromptu questions whenever you're asked. Do not avoid the do not try your best not to avoid quick questions like this, because one way or another it allows you to sharpen your critical thinking skills, whether it's in a Toastmasters meeting or you're in what you would call, whether you're in a Toastmasters meeting or you're in in a boardroom. Okay, you have to be able to answer you have to be able to answer. Don't avoid questions. Okay, ayan. One sec. Okay, now here are some general tips for a successful speech. Number one, imagine yourself delivering your speech. Think how you want to deliver in front of your audience. Okay, before doing that, imagine yourself already on that stage, on that Zoom platform, on that particular podium. How do you want your okay? How do you want your people? How do you want how do you want to deliver? How do you want your audience to react? Okay, and then focus on your message, not yourself. Okay, you're there to deliver. You're there as a messenger. You're there to deliver a message. You're there to deliver everything, your knowledge about that certain topic. You want to talk about public speaking, deliver. You want to talk about anything. You want to talk about cars. You want to talk about your favorite musician. Focus on that. Do not focus on yourself. You do not think, magkakamali ba ako nito? Magkakamali ba? Mukha bang nakakahiya yung mga sinasabi ko or not? Think of it. Kasi you're not there for yourself. You're there to deliver a message to the audience. Okay? Ang audience ang bida, hindi ikaw. So wag kang mahiya. Wag kang masyadong don't think, wag mong masyadong isipin yung itsura mo sa camera. Wag mong masyadong isipin kung ang pangit ba ng presentation ko or not. Just make sure that you are delivering. Focus on the objective, getting the message across. Okay? And then for the last part, don't apologize for small mistakes. Sometimes there are people who would actually say, sorry, na late ako. Sometimes others would say, we seem to be having technical, no, actually it's fine to say you have technical difficulties, but you might say sometimes in the slide, you'd say, mali yung spelling ng ganitong speaker, mali yung title ng ganitong speaker, or mali yung credentials. You don't have to apologize for that. Just deliver the speech. And I'm sorry kung narinig niyo yung aso na kumakahol dito. O, di ba? That part. But still, yeah, no one's perfect. Just proceed with whatever speech, whatever message that you want to deliver. And then, next part, okay, so this is a bonus on slides. Okay, don't overload your slides. There are people na akala mo nobela ang ilalagay niya sa mismo slideshow niya. Eventually, you would think, why would I listen to you kung nandyan na sa slides yung mismong gusto mong sabihin? If you're just gonna read everything on that slide, then don't eliminate the speaker. We'll just read the slide. Okay? So don't overload your slides. Your slides are just there to amplify your message, to amplify you. You are not an accessory to the slides themselves. Okay? And then, of course, avoid complicated designs and animations. Okay? Funny story, a couple of years ago, nung bago pa lang ako sa Toastmaster, I actually presented a slideshow. My biggest mistake there was color black ang background, pero color red yung font. Just because favorite ko. Now, ang nangyayari dyan, when it was reflected na sa mismong LCD projector, you cannot read the text. All you can see is a black background na may konting very, very malabong text. So, avoid that. Try to be as simple as possible. And then for animation, sometimes distracting lang yung animations. Try to avoid being super animated pagdating sa slides. You're the one who's supposed to be animated, not the slides themselves. And then practice with a small audience. Okay, not everyone has the time or the ability to do this, but yeah, try to practice with a small audience, people that you trust, people who can give you important feedback. Okay, but nevertheless, so at this point, I've come to the end of my presentation. Now, I give the floor back to our host, Vin.
James, would you
Yes.
like to talk about yung other deck mo about the fear of public speaking? I think we may have time for that.
Okay. Sige. I can present that as well. Okay, so the next one is a very short presentation. Okay, hang on. So this one I'll be for this one, I'll be talking about controlling your fear. Ay, okay, may nag-share na. Okay, go lang. Okay, so, all right, so naka-expose na rin yung mga slides. Okay,
Sorry.
so, all right, that's fine. Anyway, so, it's already, dati hindi ko alam to, mga after 2015 ko lang nalaman na humanity's number one fear is public speaking. So, what happens there is that mas takot pa ang mga taong magsalita sa harapan kaysa mamatay. Okay? So, what's gonna happen whenever you do public speaking? The actual fear there is not about public talking in public itself. You can next slide, please, Vin. Okay, so the reason why people are afraid of public speaking, people might think you might be a boring speaker or you might say something stupid. Okay, sometimes you might have the risk of saying inappropriate things. That happens a lot in PR. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful with that. Sometimes people downright avoid it rather than just be careful. Okay, so that's the hardest thing about it. And then, okay, so how do you handle that? So next slide, please. Okay, next slide. Okay, so first of all, how do you handle being this type of fear? Of course, prepare yourself. Okay, gain experience. Practice in front of a mirror. In Toastmasters, that's a very common practice. To practice in front of a mirror, show all the gestures that you can, or deliver it in front of others so that people can give you feedback. And of course, rehearse your speech. Okay. So the next one, imagine. Imagine the results that you want. Do you want the people to be inspired by what you're saying? Do you want the people to know the truth about what happened? How do you or imagine how you want to deliver in front of your how do you want to deliver your speech? Do you want to be as captivating as the world champion of public speaking, Dananjaya Hitiarachi? Do you want to be as charismatic as whoever public speaker is there? Do you want to deliver like a professional, like Rastaman? Just cheering for you. Always remember, more often than not, 90% or not even 90, almost 99% of your audience want you to succeed in your public speech. Okay? People want you to succeed on your talk. If may kakilala ka na gusto kang bumagsak, na gustong magkamali ka, then wala ka magagawa doon. Pero always remember, mas marami pa din yung mga gustong mag-succeed ka. So don't fail these people. Don't fail the people who want you to succeed. And then of course, the last part, chill, relax. So yeah, do isometric exercises. So these are like stretches, okay? You can actually do jumping jacks, anything that you can actually get your body moving. That way you can see to it that you'll be able to uh, be ready for that presentation. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. You do not breathe like this, okay? You do not breathe like okay, you don't do that. That's not gonna help you at that point. And now for the conclusion, okay, number one is, for the next slide, please. Okay, for the conclusion, yeah, being nervous is normal. Huwag kang kabahan, walang problema yan. And then the last part, your audience won't notice. Huwag mong isipin na makikita ng mga tao na kabado ka unless you show it. Okay? Unless you say na, I'm sorry, kinakabahan ako. That's, of course, that's sometimes may mag-joke ng ganon. But still, you don't, being kabado isn't always gonna be noticeable to people. So, don't sweat it. Wag kayo mahiya, hindi ka kakagatin ng tao, walang siguro mga away sa'yo. So, just go for it, okay? I hope everyone here will be able to control their fear of public speaking. I hope that everyone here will be able to improve their public speeches. Just know the necessary tips and we'll be able to help you. Vin is a Toastmaster. She will be able to help you. I am a Toastmaster. Just contact me on Facebook. The next speaker is also Toastmaster. He'll be able to help you as well. So back to you, Vin.
Hi, thank you, James. Sorry, is my voice clear? I think there's some problem with my connectivity.
Loud and
Rinig mo
clear.
ako? Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay. So, now time for some Q&A. First, thank you so much, James, for accepting the invite to speak for today. Okay. Also, sa speech mo or sa talk mo, na-mention mo several times yung Toastmaster. And
Several
medyo
times ba? Sorry.
several times. And medyo kasalanan ko to since hindi ko siya na-introduce the first time. So I'm sure madami nag-wonder, ano ba yung Toastmaster?
Okay.
So if you would explain it in simple terms, like in
Okay.
chika-chika terms, what is it?
Okay, number one, hindi to about tinapay. Okay? Number two, hindi to about alak. Actually, pwede rin kung gusto mo magdala ng alak. But still, Toastmasters is like a leadership organization that focuses on public speaking. If taken seriously, self-paced siya, and your progress allows you to, how should I say this? Your progress is based on your participation. Okay? So, hindi porke member ka is magaling ka ng speaker. You have to be able to participate. You have to speak in front during those meetings for you to actually improve. So, is that good?
Ayun. Thank you, James, for explaining. Okay, so kagaya nga ng sinabi ni James, ito, Toastmaster is isang organization for public speaking. And it's not really made of professional speakers, more
Yes.
on amateur speakers na nagsasama-sama together, maybe meeting twice a month so that we can improve together. Merong iba't ibang Toastmaster club sa Pilipinas. Merong, I think, Pinoy reads Pinoy
For
books,
Yeah, Pinoy
Toastmasters.
readers. Yeah.
Ayun, dun sa Toastmaster na yun, dinidiscuss nila yung mga Filipiniana books. Yun yung team ng meeting nila. And then meron ding Pinoy Writers Toastmasters Club. And I think merong mga librarian na Toastmasters sa pag-attend ko ng mga iba't ibang TM club, may nami-meet din akong other librarians. And who knows,
Mhm.
baka magkaroon din tayo ng Toastmasters specifically for librarians. Ayun.
There's also a
Okay.
Toastmaster Club for financial planners.
Yes. And ayun. Ang
And
dami
there's
eh.
yes, and there's also a LGBT isang LGBT type of Toastmasters.
Yeah, so public speaking really is for everyone. Okay. Ayun. Again, thank you, James. I know you have a meeting after this and padala
And
ko yung Grab voucher mo later.
okay, thank
Thank you
you.
for accepting. So,
Yes.
okay. With that,
No other questions or good na?
are there any questions from the audience? Okay. Also, nabanggit mo kanina na we shouldn't overwhelm our PowerPoint or our slide decks with
Yes. Mm-hmm.
too much information or too much data. Pero what if yung presentation mo is data-driven?
If it's data driven, just write the figures. But I'm actually pertaining to people who actually just simply copy pasted everything from Wikipedia link or to the PowerPoint, anything like that. Sometimes, even if it's data driven, yeah, you can it depends on the requirement of your of the situation. Okay, but for example, if you're speaking in front of an audience to actually just inform them, okay, to actually make sure na, or you're there to inspire them, okay, just less is more as a speaker. Another thing that you can do is also give copies of the slide. Another thing that you can also do is to state your sources. Then that way, people can also check those as well.
Okay. Before you leave, we have one question. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll read it for you. So what
Kinakabahan ako dyan ah.
hindi kita sasaluhin kung di mo masagot. So go. Sorry.
Salamat
Okay.
ah.
Question, what ways or steps would you suggest if you are given a topic that you don't have any idea about? Paano kung clueless ka?
Personally, that's why you actually that's what I mentioned earlier, that you have to broaden your perspective. You have to know a little bit about everything, not know a little bit about as much as you can. Okay, try to see to it that you're able to read as much, be what you would call be an avid reader. See to it that you are able to see to it that you're able to know about this certain topic even beforehand. Watch TV, watch TV, read the book, because you have to be prepared basically for anything at that point. But if talagang wala ka nabasa na kahit ano about that, like say if you're going to talk about the Illuminati, or if you're going to talk about Norse mythology, then you'll have to actually you'll just have to present, be honest that you haven't actually, how should I say this, you haven't actually tackled that particular topic, and show that you're willing to learn more about it. Captivate the audience by telling them, by showing them that, yeah, that particular topic is worth knowing about. And then, yeah, basically at that point, that's what I can think of at the top of my mind.
I think when it comes to looking for resources to read, to expand our perspectives, hindi yan magiging problem with the audience because you
Mhm.
are talking to a group of librarians. So, magaling sila maghanap ng mga legitimate sources. So, that wouldn't be a
Exactly.
problem. Okay. So, again, thank you, James, for today.
Okay.
And I'll be sending your Grab voucher this weekend. Okay.
Sige lang, go lang,
I-
enjoy.
I'll see you. Okay. So,
Bye,
now, guys,
guys. Mhm.
we're having a break time of 5-minute break time. Okay, so after 5 minutes, we will start with the second talk. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear me now? Nagsasalita pala ako kanina, nakamute pala ako. It's a very common problem sa Zoom. Okay. So I would just like ask some participants to please keep your microphone on mute when you are not speaking. I'd also like to ask for the help of some regalo coordinators. Thank you so much. Okay, and if you can please spotlight me. Okay. So, okay. Kanina may mga nagtatanong kung meron bang attendance link. Wala pong registration for this webinar, pero magkakaroon tayo ng evaluation link at the end. So once you answer that evaluation link, you will be entitled to receive a certificate for today's webinar. Okay, so first, some introduction for our speaker for today. So when nung una niyang pinadala sa akin yung bio note niya, mahaba because he's a very accomplished person. For the purpose of this webinar, iniklian ko lang. Sorry, Sir Jake. Okay, so again, our second speaker is Sir Anthony Jake Duran. So he took business administration and accountancy and masters in technology in University of the Philippines, Diliman. He is a member of Toastmasters International, and he's also the past audit committee chairman of District 75. He was also a board of trustee of ISACO. Manila.
Hello, B. You are lagging.
He is D3800 Rotarian. So Jake is currently the information. Nakamute.
Vin, you're lagging. Your line is breaking. Your audio is breaking.
It's okay, Vin. It's okay, yeah. Shall I start now? Okay lang, Vin? Okay, sige. So, magandang umaga sa ating lahat, no? Okay, do you want me, Vin, to take over? Sorry, okay. Good morning. Okay, sige. Good morning, everyone, no? Narinig nyo kanina sa ating previous speaker, distinguished Toastmaster James, and of course, Vin kept on mentioning about Toastmasters, no? This really good organization that empowers a lot of people. And right now, allow me to share with all of you my journey with Toastmasters. No? So, may tanong lang ako, no? Before I start, sino ba sa inyo nang nakarinig dito ng Toastmasters? Pwede bang, maliban sa kanina, no? Pwede bang mag-heart naman tayo dyan na emoticon kung meron na? Sige nga, patingin nga ako. Wala pa. So, this is basically fresh ano to sa inyo lahat, no? Okay. So, if I remember vividly how I started with Toastmasters, have you heard yung mga di ba yung mga meditation natin na mga na sinasabi when we are reflecting, when we are doing yoga? Just imagine a person keep on saying that, pero hindi siya nag-yoga, hindi siya nag-meditate. That's how I started my Toastmasters journey. Okay? Ganun na ganun po ako. That was 8 months ago. And by the way, po, for the audience, I would like to request for your indulgence for the remainder of my speaking slot. I would like to get your permission for me to brag because I'll be talking about my journey as a Toastmasters. So, sana pagpasensya nyo na kung medyo magyayabang ako ng paunti-unti, because of course, paano ko kayo may encourage for you to actually join Toastmasters if I don't say something good about myself, okay? So, with your indulgence, I would be requesting that you will be allowing me to konting yabang lang naman. Okay? Now, by the way pala, hindi ko lang alam kung narinig nyo kanina sa binanggit ni Vin, na through Toastmasters, I was actually able to penetrate the United Nations. Take note, not just any United Nations. It was the United Nations in Vienna, Austria. So here are the various photos that I had when I was with the United Nations. Because oftentimes, when I meet new people, when I meet foreigners, when I meet professional, every time I mention to them that I am a Toastmasters, they would always say, wow, you are a Toastmasters. And from that stuttering person aeons ago, when I started with Toastmasters, lo and behold, Toastmasters took me to the United Nations, to an international stage. So I am quite proud and happy of my journey as a Toastmasters. So, paano ba ako nagsimula, no? How did I start my Toastmaster journey? It all started one time, no? I was just a fresh grad from the University of the Philippines. Fresh grad po. And I remember, part ako ng isang international organization catering to multinational organizations. And we were requested by our bosses to do round robin of introduction. Just introducing ourselves. Take note, our clients are scientists. So malamang alam niyo na kung gaano sila kausik kasi mga scientists po sila. And that's when I went into that rampage of wala pa akong nasabi. My boss told me, Jay, please introduce yourselves in your part in this engagement. Take note, I was the best performer of my batch. Pero public speaking, tahimik po ako. Wala akong masabi. Sobrang wala akong masabi. Sobrang napahiya ako that I immediately went to Google. How to address your public speaking fear. Lo and behold, that fear, yung pong embarrassing moment na yon, took me to Toastmasters. Doon po nagsimula ang aking journey because I would like me to sort of provide for whatever gap or whatever weaknesses that I have. So, bakit po ganon? Bakit ganon? Bakit ko ginawa yon? Because po of my side, no? Aaminin ko po sa inyo, no, na medyo na-excite ako nang chinat ako ni Vin na kayo po pala, karamihan sa inyo ay actually librarians, if not all of you. Kasi po, ang buhay ko po, ever since I can remember, it just simply revolves around books. Naalala ko ang lagi kong introduction, pinagtatawanan nga ako ng mga kaibigan ko kasi every time they would always remember how I used to introduce myself. Sinasabi sa kanila is, I just love reading books. Ganun po. So imagine niyo yung tao na walang ginawa kung hindi magbasa lang ng magbasa ng libro. Tahimik lang, introvert, hindi nagsasalita. Pag may ideas, tinatago lang sa sarili. Pero ang nanay ko po naman po is, I have to palengkera yung nanay ko. Ang turo niya sa amin, lahat is posible. Kung gusto mong bumangon from where you are right now, if you want to amount to someone of value or people whom will be looking up in the future, nothing is impossible. All is possible if you would just like act on it. Take note, you can control and you can always change everything if you want. Pero ang laging sinasabi sa amin is never forget to pray. And take note, this side of Jake Duran, an introvert person who has this mindset of nothing is impossible, brought me to Google, which eventually brought me to Toastmasters. I'll be honest, when I was starting, I was so afraid. Ang galing-galing nila magsalita lahat. I couldn't say anything. I remember my very first meeting in Toastmasters. Alam niyo pong sinabi ko lang? Kasi po, when we do our Toastmasters meeting, at the end of every meeting, you will be called upon by the host of the meeting, tatanungin ka, anong comments mo? Alam niyo pong sinabi ko lang? I am intimidated. Ganun lang. Actually, hindi I am. Isang word lang sinabi ko. Intimidated. Pero, the next, I first joined as a guest. Then, sabi ko, if you don't act on your fear now, Jay, walang mangyayari sa'yo. So, you know what I did? I volunteered to speak on the next meeting and I immediately joined as a member. So ganun po, lakasan lang ng loob eh. Ganun lang naman tayo, di ba? Wala tayong alam sa umpisa. But of course, if we would like to change how we are, who we are, how things are, you have to do something about your life. So kailangan mo lang mag-umpisa. And you have to take this mindset. Lahat po ay posible. Walang imposible and we can control and change everything if we want. Okay? Again, nothing is impossible. So, napag-usapan kanina nila nila Vin at ni DTM James, yung tinatawag nating Toastmasters. So, siguro ibenta ko ng konti kung ano yung Toastmasters. Okay? So, yung Toastmaster po ay isa siyang non-profit organization. So, after this, if some of you would get an invitation from Vin to actually observe what we are doing, hindi po kayo iniimbitahan ni Vin para sa para mag-multi-level marketing. Iniimbitahan niya kayo para mag-observe ng isang activities, ng isang, take note, non-profit educational organization. Okay? By the way pala, hindi ko lang alam kung nabanggit ni Vin, Currently po, nagturo din po ako sa University of the Philippines, nagturo po ako sa the UP College of Business Administration, nagturo din po ako sa UP Technology Management Center, nagturo ako sa FEU Moraita, at nagturo din po ako sa nagturo din ako sa DLS Utah. So nung sinabi ni Vin sa akin na marami sa atin ang mga professors or teachers, na-excite po talaga ako kasi I really would love to share my journey to fellow educators. Kasi especially in the wake of the pandemic, magsalita, mag-share ng ating alam is one of the positive distractions that I actually welcome, So, marami pong salamat sa oportunidad po na binigay niyo sa akin to actually share with you, Now, nag-off tangent ako sa aking topic, but let me talk now about Toastmasters, So, ito po, take note, sabi ko, this is a non-profit organization. So, ang main aim po nito is turuan po yung mga members ng public speaking. Public speaking, and take note, hindi lang public speaking, pati din po yung leadership. Take note ha, ulitin ko, public speaking at para matrain din kayo na maging leaders. And I would like to highlight this one, worldwide network of clubs. Especially in the midst of the pandemic, meron tayong access because many people right now are meeting virtually to attend virtual club meetings of other Toastmasters club in any part of the globe. You just have to reach out to them. So ibig sabihin, pumunta ka lang sa Google at maghanap kung ano ba yung Toastmasters club sa Vienna? Ano ba yung Toastmasters club sa Denmark? And you could eventually reach out to these people and request them if they want to invite you in their club meetings. So take note, no? Ang main goal nito is for all of the attendees to actually what? Be trained in public speaking and leadership. And take note, it is non-profit. Hindi po kayo pagkakakitaan. Okay? And eto, no, binanggit kanina ni Vin na marami daw members dito are actually amateur. Yes, we all started as amateur speakers, but a lot of those masters are sort of evolving into what? Proficient speakers. So alam niyo ba din pati yung mga ating mga beauty queens when they join yung tinatawag natin na yung mga tinatawag natin na mga beauty contest, no, mga Miss Universe, many of them are actually what? Becoming part of those masters because those masters allow them to practice on how to answer the Q&A portion. Okay? So, ito po talaga, this can be joined by anyone, no, who is interested in improving their craft. Okay? So, non-profit po ito. And isa pa, have you heard of John Roberts Power, no? So, this is a famous training, public speaking training institution. Pero alam nyo ba na karamihan ng kanilang faculty, karamihan ng kanilang teachers are actually started with those masters. So just imagine, no, those masters training people to actually train others as well, to actually empower as well. And if I may share po, no, right now po, I am conducting trainings and seminars po sa maraming professional organizations. And even take note, I was able to conduct training in certain international stage, like sa Nairobi, Kenya. I was even in Europe, no, nag-conduct din ako ng trainings and seminar. And it all started with Toastmasters. So take note, ha, you will learn a lot of things in Toastmasters. Nabanggit ni James kanina, itong tatlong ito, no? Content, organization, at ang tinatawag po nating delivery. So bakit ko kinuha po yung tatlong to? Okay? Because ano ba yung responsibility ng isang effective public speaker? If you want to talk, no, any speaker, no, kahit nagkukwentuhan lang kayo ng mama mo, nagkukwentuhan lang kayo ng teacher mo, nagkukwentuhan lang kayo ng kachismisan mo, ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari? You want to relay your message effectively. So anong ibig sabihin noon? Dapat yung content nyo po is mabilis niyang maintindihan. Dapat po yung content po ng sinasabi mo is well organized para mas mabilis pumasok doon sa kausap mo. Bakit? Hindi po katulad ng libro, ito lagi akong tambak ng libro sa paligid ko, hindi katulad ng mga libro, ang spoken language, for example, no, you have 3 points and you are already on your second and your third point. In written English or written talk or written document, if you are already in your second or third point and you forgot about the previous points, you can always go back to that. But in public speaking, in spoken English, wala po kayong ganung luxury. So you have to organize your talk in a way that you will be telling the audience that I am talking about point 1. I am now moving to point 2. And right now, we are at point 3. And that is organization. Okay? Now, delivery. Diba? Binanggit kanina ni James yung delivery. Isa ito sa mga areas na tinuturo din sa amin as a Toastmasters. How do you properly deliver your content? Ang ganda-ganda ng pagkasulat mo, no? Ang ganda-ganda ng ginawa mo. Wow, parang telenovela. Pero, tan-tan-taran-tan. Oh, sino bang naman ang gusto makinig pag meron na tayong nag-histrionics yung tinatawag natin? Anong sabi ni Miriam Defensor Santiago nun? The histrionics of a high school declamation contestant. So just imagine no, kung ganun tayo magsalita or parang monotonous. Or minsan naman bigla na lang sumisigaw na hindi mo naiintindihan. Or minsan, alam niyo yung nag-virtual meeting kayo tapos sobrang lapit ng mukha na, kita mo na yung pores. Di ba nakaka-distract? Lahat po yun tinatawag nating delivery. So ito po yung tatlong main areas that as a public speaker, dapat nating maintindihan. Ang laman po, ang content ng ating sinasabi, paano natin ini-organisa, how do we organize what we are saying, and of course, how are we delivering what we are saying. So, ito pong tatlong to, you want to know more about this, you want to practice, and you want to sort of becoming more well-versed in COD, join Toastmasters. After this, reach out to him and ask her to help you or to refer you to a Toastmaster club. No? Ang daming pwede nyong gawin kahit mag-observe lang po kayo. Okay? Content, organization, and delivery are the three main areas that you have to bear in mind when you are communicating to your audience, because these areas will ascertain that you will be communicating your message effectively. Okay? Now, eto pa po. Take note, no, ang Toastmasters, hindi mo lang matutunan dito ang dada ng dada, katulad ng ginagawa ko ngayon. You will not just learn how to relay the message effectively. You will be given the opportunity to actually lead and have those experience prepare you, no, outside of Toastmaster setting. Take note, no, may ako noon adelantado talaga tong kalbong to Yun ang ginagawa ko noon. Every time, I would always volunteer. Gawin niyo akong sergeant at arms. Gawin niyo akong treasurer. Taga-kolekta ko lang naman Gawin niyo akong ganitong position. Why? Because I know that with this experience, it would stretch me and sort of prepare me from what to come. And lo and behold, it helped me become a really good president in a Rotary Club. And it helped me prepare for handling positions in a multinational setting. Binigyan po kasi ako ng opportunity noon kasi wala silang ma-hire na tao. Ginawa nila akong executive ng isang multinational company. And I remember it vividly, no? That position was normally given to people who are above 40. And I was 24 years old then. So hindi ko alam ang gagawin. At natuto po ako sa Toastmasters because sabi ko kung paano ko kinakausap yung aking mga members, kung paano ko nakikipag-deal sa mga ibang tao sa Toastmasters, ganun din ang naging strategy ko sa corporate setting. So ano pong aking pinupunto dito? Toastmasters will not just give you the gift of God. Toastmasters will not just stretch you to become a leader. It will also prepare you to what's outside. And take note, no? Hindi nyo alam, malay nyo, kayo maging next mayor, next president, next vice president. And I'm telling you, find all leadership opportunities that would propel you to those experiences. So Toastmasters was able to help me do that. Okay? So, yun lang, no? Yun yung gusto kong sabihin sa inyo. Do not be afraid to try and be stretched in Toastmasters. And the people within Toastmasters community is always ready to help you provide that opportunity. Unang tinatawag namin, sinaunang curriculum namin sa Toastmasters. Pero ngayon may tinatawag na kaming pathways. So ano po itong pathways? If you want to know more about this, contact Vin, no? Nandyan si Vin lang naman. I-chat niyo mamaya, i-direct message niyo, Vin, invite me and talk to me about these pathways. But let me just encapsulate itong para saan yung pathways. This is now the modern touch on learning as a public speaker. A modern touch on learning as leadership. Individualized na po, meaning, rather than dati dinidiktahan lang kami, parang yung mga sinauna nating teacher, no? They will just be imposing at us on how to do our projects. In pathways, they will be empowering you. Di ba sinabi ni James, no, in Toastmasters, customize yung journey mo. Your progress will be dependent on how you would like to progress, on how you would like to pace your progress. Gaano ba kabilis ang gusto mo? So, meron po kami tinatawag na pathways that will empower every member, including you, the soon-to-be members, on how you want to pace your learning experience as a public speaker and as a leader. So, i-emphasize ko lang ha, this is a non-profit organization. It will help you, no, in whatever speaking and leadership opportunities as a librarian, as a professor, as a student that you have. As early as now, may nakikita ko kayo na sa mga chat group, no? So, estudyante lang po ako. By all means, alam niyo ba yung kapatid ko noon, 16, 18, nang nalaman ko na pinasali ko sa Toastmasters kasi I started really, late na, 29, 21. That's for me late na. Dapat, the soonest time that you can join Toastmasters, no? Because the earlier you try to learn, the better and more opportunities for you waiting outside. Okay? So, ano nga ba ang nagbago sa akin after I joined Toastmasters? Siguro nyo napansin nyo naman, di ba? Naging mas confident ako. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, no? Nag-umpisa ako ng I remember yung very first time, no, na inimbita ako, I was actually called to talk on, may tinatawag kaming impromptu speaking or table topics. Ang binigay sa akin was the topic, mothers know best. So sabi, talk about mothers know best. Alam mo kung anong ginagawa ko lang? Alam mo yung parang boses na maluwa-luwa? Doon pa ako nag-umpisa. Pero right now, it helped me, the Toastmasters journey, helped me become confident on everything that I am saying, within and outside. No, mas naniwala ako ngayon sa kung anong kayang gawin ng isang Jake Duran. At ngayon, mas lumakas ang loob ko sa kung anong tingin sa akin ng mga tao. Dati sinasabi nila, magaling si Jake, guwapo si Jake. Pero ngayon, mas naniniwala na rin ako. No? And I'm telling you, no, from my experience po, I remember before I was invited in a job interview ng isang multinational company of an organization that was based in Qatar. Alam mo, the very first thing na sinabi ng interviewer ko was, wow, you are a Toastmasters. Ganun lang yung unang sinabi niya. And I remember, no, nung nag-join po ako sa UN, sa Vienna, binigyan ako nila ng rank daw. Ewan ko kung totoo, it was just a rumor. Ang sabi sa akin, P5 daw. So P5 meaning professional 5, sa lahat ng professional, yun yung pinakamataas na rank na ibigay. And I was what? 30 plus. I was in my early 30s. Normally, binibigyan ng ganung rank ang mga 50 plus. Alam mo kung ano lang yung sinabi nung nag-hire sa akin? He is a Toastmaster. Then I started doing my spiel. I started enchanting them. Kinuha pa nila ako sa iba-ibang project. And I learned how to do those things because of Toastmasters. Yung pong tinatawag kong, I sort of gain confidence within. Mas naniwala ako sa kung anong kakayahan ko, and it sort of reflected, no, kung anong naging tingin sa akin ng mga tao. Secondly, I learned how to easily take note kung paano po makapag-interact sa lahat ng audience. And take note that this is really key if you want to become a politician. Dapat marunong kang makipag-usap all across types of people, regardless kung anong age group, anong race, anong economic status, at kung anong background niya. Those masters prepared me for that. Naalala ko when I was teaching and providing feedback to my students at Far Eastern University, ang sabi sa akin nila, "Sir, bakit po ganyan kayo magbigay ng feedback? Hindi masakit pakinggan. Ang galing, very professional. Hindi katulad ng iba naming professor, parang feeling namin madudurog kami. Pero pag kayo pong nagbigay, parang feeling namin kahit mali na kami, kaya namin pa rin." Those masters trained me that when you are giving evaluation, make it healthy. Make it a positive environment. Nagbibigay ako ng mga feedback sa staff ko. Minsan gusto-gusto ko na talagang manermon sa aking mga staff. Pero ginagamit ko yung tinuturo sa amin sa Toastmasters. Anong sabi sa amin sa Toastmasters? Kiss, kick, kiss. Ano yun? Halikan mo daw, sipain mo, halikan mo. So, ganun din ang naging strategy ko. And right now, ang sabi sa akin, before daw, yung pinalitan ko na head ng aking department, sabi daw was, minsan half day lang nagre-resign ng mga tao. Pero sa akin, ang problema ko, hindi problema, it's sort of a good thing. Walang nagre-resign. And they're sort of quite proud of how I was leading them. And siguro nga i-admit ko, I learned about those things sa Toastmasters po. Doon ko lang po natutunan on how to deal with all types of people, how to deal with my fellow faculty, with my fellow educators, how to deal with my students, how to deal with my staff, regardless kung anong edad nila, ano man kanilang background, kung ano man ang kanilang pinagdadaanan. Kasi minsan kahit okay yan, minsan umiiyak. Yung pala, may problema lang palang personal. Toastmasters prepared me for that. Di ba sinasabi ni James kanina, make it palatable for your audience. Pero kahit sobrang palatable na yan, if you are not tweaking this to your audience, then sad to say po, meron po kayong malaking problema. Okay? Toastmasters will prepare you for that one. And I'm happy to share na nabanggit ko kanina paulit-ulit yung career ko po, sort of, hindi pa ako nagka-40. Yeah, medyo malapit-lapit na, pero malayo-layo pa ako sa 40. Pero at my age po, I've been to more than 100 travel destinations. And I've been earning money po na medyo sinasabi sa akin ng ibang tao, talagang kinikita mo yan dito sa Pilipinas? I owe everything in Toastmasters because Toastmasters prepared me for that lucrative career. If I may share po, every time I am invited to speak, binabayaran po ako. At minsan ang ginawa kong material, I've been using that for eons, for decades. Ang tagal-tagal ko nang ginagawa. Same material, ina-update ko lang ng konti. And they pay me to talk every time I get invited. So imagine, laway lang ang puhunan mo, paulit-ulit yung material mo, binabayaran ka. I owe those things, those financial milestones po sa Toastmasters. Yung pong rason, kaya po, panganay po ako I'm proud to say na because of the skills that I owe in Toastmasters, yung po isang malaking nagbago because of Toastmasters. From an introvert person, naging yun lang yung journey ko talaga, From an introvert person, na libro lang ang aking to someone who is empowering people. So I was able to realize career and financial milestones because of Toastmasters. So after nito I'm expecting people to be reaching out to Vin to be asking about Toastmasters, okay? And ito po, ang pinaka-importante, ako po kasi ay taong ang bilis ng utak. Alam niyo ba na pag nagbabasa ako ng libro, sabi nga ng aking staff, sabay kami nagbasa ng libro, In just how many days, naubos ko kagad yung sobrang kapal na libro. Dahil sobrang bilis ng utak ko, ganun ako magbasa eh. Magaling ako mag-speed reading. I've learned that may mga, nung college kasi ako nag-aaral, may mga friends ako nag-aaral ng library science, tinuruan nila kung paano mag-speed reading. Pero dahil sobrang bilis ng aking thoughts, minsan hindi ko siya nare-range. Alam mo yung mga taga-UP minsan na ang daming, minsan they talk about point A, point B, minsan tumatalon sa point Z, tatalon sa point F. It's not well that organized, no? Because especially if it's too technical. Toastmasters po, tinulungan niya akong i-control po yun at i-translate ang technical na yun sa something that is, yung binanggit ni James kanina, palatable. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng palatable? Mabilis maintindihan ng audience. Mabilis maintindihan ni Vin, mabilis maintindihan ni Eugene, mabilis maintindihan ni Christine. If you want to know how Toastmasters brought me to that, I will not share it with you, no? Just join Toastmasters, kahit mag-observe lang muna kayo, and let your journey start right after this. Naging palatable po, mas na-control ko. Ito pang example na binigay sa akin, no? Ito, just to whet your appetite. Sabi sa Toastmasters, kung meron kang 10 topic na gustong sabihin, kung meron kang 5 topic na gusto kang sabihin, remember, no, may limitation ng attention span ng mga tao. Limit this to 3, yung tinatawag naming the rule of 3 or the triad. So if you have 5 topics to talk about, limit it to 3 topics, then bump off the other 2 topics to your next speaking opportunity. Limit it to top 3. Otherwise, it will bore your audience. Toastmasters taught me that. That is one of the ways how I learned ways in Toastmasters. You don't bombard your audience with too many information. You just offer to them something that they can easily relate with. Okay? So, ano ba yung mga pointers na gusto kong makuha ninyo, no? When you join Toastmasters, kasi I'm pretty sure after this, no, malamang si Mr. Eugene Herrera would be probably reaching out to Vin, no? Or si Christine Ima would be reaching out to Vin to actually expose them to Toastmasters. Take note, ha? Success in Toastmasters or even in life in general is intentional. It is never accidental. Kaya kahit sobrang takot ko, takot na takot ako magsalita, pikit mata, tinataas kong kamay ko. Next week, magsasalita po ako. Takot na takot ako sa impromptu speaking. I will talk po, pero nung sinabi ko lang sa unahan, again, success is intentional. You want to progress in Toastmasters or anything in life, you have to do it. Kahit po takot kayo, you have to do it. Walang ibang paraan. Kahit po mag-fail kayo, mas mabuti na mag-fail ka, kasi maraming pwedeng tumulong sa'yo. Kesa naman mag-fail ka doon sa mas malaking at stake. This is a non-profit organization. Like Regalo Touching Lives. Same na same lang yung concept, no? Again, success is intentional. Pangalawang pointer, your progress. Ang inyo pong asenso sa Toastmasters ay kontrolado ninyo at kayo lang. Hindi ni Vin, kung imbitahin man kayo ni Vin, sana imbitahin kayo ni Vin, no? Hindi ng presidente, kung sino man ang presidente ng club, or ng mga officers. Kayo po ang nagko-control kung paano kayo mag-progress. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Di ba, you will be given opportunity to talk. Alam niyo yung ginawa ko noon, even outside of Toastmasters. I kept on practicing. Pinagtatawanan nga ako ng anak ko. Si Papa, salita ng salita. I remember, kasi di ba, remember yung sabi ko, nag-umpisa sa Toastmaster, sabi ko, alam niyo yung ginawa ko? I took a pen, I went in front of the mirror, at alam niyo, dahil, alam niyo na, sorry, kami mga taga-UP, hindi kami magaling mag-Tagalog, mag-English. Yun talagang number 1 dilemma namin. So, alam niyo yung sinabi ko lang, doon sa harapan ng salamin, I have an orange pen. And this pen writes blue ink. Ganun lang. Pero sobrang pangit pa nga. Doon po ako nag-umpisa. You have to start somewhere. You have to do it. Your progress is controlled by you. And take note, for example, nung pinush ako ng club ko, you have to join a contest. Alam mo ginawa ko? Madaling araw, 3 a.m., magpa-practice ako ng isang quotation. Bago ako matulog, isang quotation ulit. I am controlling my progress. I won the contest. Dahil lang, kinontrol ko ang aking progress intentionally. I did not wait for my coach. I did not wait for my club officers to train me. I trained myself. You and only by you. And take note po, no? When you are in a Toastmaster setting, every time po natawagin ka, huwag ka nang mag-iinarte. Okay? Don't say, ay, si Vin na lang. Ay, si Portia Villarin na lang. Ay, si Christine na lang ang magsasalita. Take note. Every time you are called to talk, that is a chance for you to actually hone your speaking skills. Ayaw mo magpa-train? Bye. Ikaw may kasalanan yan. Again, every time you are invited to talk, to practice, that is your chance to actually prepare yourself. And take note, no? May mga tinatawag din kami doong speaking time. Ito ang weakness ko, madaldal akong tao. So pag binigyan kang oras just for you to talk about within 5 minutes, huwag mo namang gawing 10 minutes, huwag mo namang gawing 20 minutes. Hindi lang ikaw ang dapat mag-practice. You have to learn to respect yung ibang members. Bigyan mo rin sila ng chance to actually practice their public speaking skills. So, pag sinabi ng host ng club, ng meeting, talk for 2 minutes, by all means, 2 minutes, huwag naman 20 minutes. Respeto natin yung chance para makapag-practice yung iba. And sabi ko nga kanina, no? Pag sinabi, oh, Eugene, Mr. Eugene Herrera, you will be the treasurer next meeting. Don't be afraid. Don't shy away from that opportunity, no? Pag sinabi, Mr. Rodrigo Umlas, you will be the club sergeant at arms. Don't shy away from that. Pag sinabi, John, you will be the vice president for education. Don't shy away from that, John Miguel, no? Because that is an opportunity for you, not just to practice your speaking skills, but to practice for you to become the next vice president of a multinational organization, the next mayor of a first class city, the best professor in a well-known university. So every time you are you've been handed a position, don't shy away from those. Just keep on accepting that opportunity for you to practice. Take note, sa Toastmasters, we are trained to talk and we are trained to become leaders. Ang dadal ko, pasensya mo na po. So isa pa, take note, no? Yung speaking opportunities nyo po are not confined within the club. Okay? So, ako nun, wini-welcome ko lahat. Ibanggit ko kanina, no, yung pag-practice ko ng salamin. Ay, naku. Alam niyo po kung saan ko pa nagpa-practice? Sa Manila Bay, kung saan yung mga Dolomite Sand. Doon po ako nagpa-practice. Dati na pre-pandemic, 3 a.m. nandoon na ako. Madaling araw nagpa-practice ako kasi po nagda-dragon boat din ako eh. So, habang naghihintay ako sa iba naming members, I keep on practicing and people would laugh at me, no? Yung kalbo, walang ginawa kundi kinakausap na naman ng sarili. Hayaan mo silang tumawa. Take note, no? It helped me gain extra money to pay for the education of my siblings. So, your speaking opportunities will not be confined within the club. You want to succeed, keep on practicing, even outside of your club. And take note, no, naalala ko, accept opportunities to speak even outside of Toastmasters Club. Alam niyo kung paano ako nag-umpisa mag-seminar? Ganito po yun. May dati kasi in the tinatawag namin sa unang curriculum, we are given 10 speech projects. On my 7th speech, parang palakpakan sila ng palakpakan. Tapos, sinabi sa akin ng isa sa mga attendee, pwede ba natin it was just for 5 to 7 minutes. Sabi niya, pwede ba natin gawing isang araw na seminar yan? Sabi ko, sige, pero wala kang bayad. Sabi ko, sige lang po. Naisip ko, sige, para makapag-try ako mag-seminar. Alam niyo ba na naging blockbuster yun? 150 ang attendees. From a free seminar, nag-umpisa, sige, parang ang daming umattend. Bayaran ka na namin ng 1,000 kada araw. From that 10,000 seminar per day na seminar, no? Hanggang na-invite na ako ng iba-ibang professional organization that even what led me to the international stage. So never confine yourself within the parameters of your club. Speaking opportunities even outside of your club should always be welcome. And eto, no, you have to brazen your hearts. Ang turo sa amin sa Toastmasters is provide feedback positively. Pero po sa club ko, medyo may pagka-brutal kami minsan because we want our members to really learn. So minsan, well, ngayon medyo iba kasi pathways. Pero nung mga sinauna, talagang binabagsak ko. Sabi ko, ulitin mo ang speech mo. Hindi mo na-meet yung objectives. Ngayon kasi, ang magde-decide na yung speaker. Pero no, mas maganda rin, you should welcome honest feedback from your evaluators. Honest feedback from other members. Opinion lang naman nila yun. It's just an opinion on how you could better your speech. Pero always welcome this, John. So just brazen your heart. Huwag kang matampuhin. Don't be too sensitive. Because every nugget of area for improvement that you will be hearing, that is one step for you to improving, to bettering yourselves. Okay? And ito po, join contests. Join contests again and again. Alam niyo po, bagong member ako. Nag-volunteer ako. I will be joining a contest. Alam niyo po, first contest, dalawa lang kaming contestant. Aminin ko man, talo. Ay, pero sabi ko, pero ang dami kong natutunan sa pag-join ng contest kasi dahil contestant ka, pinagbomba ko ng mga mentors ko, no? Tinuruan ako ng tinuruan. So they sort of stretch me. It helped me a lot. Even in how I do my seminars. Even in how I manage my team. So don't be afraid to join speaking contest. Okay? And again, always volunteer. If you get invited even just as a guest, pag in-invite kayo ni Vin, no? Bawa si Mr. John Miguel Habines, no? In-invite ka ni Vin as guest sa kanyang Toastmaster Club, volunteer ka magsalita sa impromptu speaking. Kahit hindi mo alam kung anong sasabihin mo. Just keep on volunteering, no? And malay mo, matrain ka sa kung saan. So just keep on volunteering. Don't be afraid. And eto pa, find a mentor. How do you want to grow in any aspect of your lives? Toastmasters or outside of Toastmasters? Find a mentor. Kahit hindi niya alam na siya palang tinitingnan mong mentor. Kahit mag-reach out ka lang sa kanya, no? Parang ganito, no? I remember, I was invited to speak sa Adamson University. May isang estudyante doon na after ko magsalita, sabi niya sa akin, nilapitan niya ako, bakit po ang galing niyo magsalita? Sabi ko, I became a Toastmasters. Sabi niya, kinaibigan niya ako sa messenger. Sinachat na niya ako, nagtatanong na siya, hanggang dinala ko siya sa club ko. Alam niyo po kung nasaan siya ngayon? He was actually hired by a multinational, the Big Four auditing firm. Doon lang, hindi ko alam pala na ginagawa niya pala akong mentor without me knowing it. Tanong siya ng tanong, reach out siya sa akin. Eventually, naging ano siya. I mean, naging hanggang na-realize ko, he is wanting me to mentor him hanggang formally. Parang hindi naman formally, no? Pero I find time to really reach out to him at naging mentor, naging mentee ko nga siya. So, don't be afraid to look for mentors. Kasi without a role model, without someone that you will be looking up to, wala kang opportunity for you to actually learn. Magkaiba man kayo ng journey, pero at least meron kang steps na pwedeng sundan, parang plano. Okay? So, eto na, last slide na. Sorry, nabuboard ko na, no? So, bakit ko ba sinasabi sa inyo lahat to? Dahil ba nagyayabang lang ba si Jake? Sabi ko sa inyo kanina, ha, you have to allow me to, kasi journey pinag-uusapan natin, eh. So, sorry kung nagyabang ako, no? So, kaya po ako kanina sa inyo nagyabang because I want you to intentionally, na after this, proactively, reach out to Vin and other Toastmasters Club para malaman nyo kung paano yung mga house, kung ano yung mga W, kung paano ang mga W's ng pagsasalita. Take note, no? If you want to improve, walang ibang tutulong sa iyo. Kung hindi, ikaw lang. You will be realizing your own milestone. And take note, you have to start somewhere. Okay? Daldal ko po, pasensya na. So, yun po, I am now opening the floor for questions. I will now be stop sharing my screen. Okay? So, thank you. Sana may natutunan kayo sa akin. Pasensya na, pasensya na. Okay, go ahead. Sino pong may mga tanong sa atin? Yes, yeah, go ahead po. Go ahead, Vin.
Ay, okay, so first, thank you, Sir Jake, for the presentation. And sorry about my connection a while ago. Okay, so I guess kapag public speaking in a webinar or in an online setting, meron kang dalawang kalaban. The first is yung kaba mo personally, and then the second is technical issues. So actually prepare ako for this. I have a pocket Wi-Fi, but my pocket Wi-Fi is not working. Hindi nakikisama. So nag-prepare po ako ulit. Nag-prepare ako na if ever maging choppy ako, Miss Mels from Regalo will be taking over. Okay, so Miss Mels, pag choppy po ako, paki-kick out na ako. Tapos
Sige, so questions po? Sino may tanong? Meron kayong tanong? Hiya naman ako sa inyo. Baka ang dami kong pinagsasabi, hindi na pala value adding. Vin, take it away kung may tanong sila.
Sir, do you think shy people or introvert people can become public speakers?
Nag-umpisa ko doon. I was an introvert. Ang buhay ko po dati libro lang. As in, libro lang talaga. Mahilig kasi ako magbasa lang ng libro eh. I don't know. Ang ano ko lang talagang I really don't volunteer. I really don't say anything. But Toastmasters stretch me to become sort of an extrovert. So yun po yun. Yes, the answer is a resounding yes again. Kanina may tanong pala kanina kay tawag ito kay yun yung nagtatanong Vin, parang gusto ko mag-pitch in lang dito sa tanong kay DTM James. What ways or steps would you suggest if you are given a topic that you don't have any idea about the topic? Ang suggestion ko if you cannot wing it, don't attempt to wing it. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Mas mabuti pang sabihin mo na hindi mo alam. Pero don't leave them hanging. Sabihin mo, kasi nangyayari yan sa akin when I do my seminars. Ang sinasabi ko na lang, let me get back to you because the secretarial, they have your email. So I will take a look at those and revert back to you. Walang masama mag-admit na hindi mo alam lahat. Just tell them na you will be reverting back to them.
Exit na. Got it.
Yes, Vin?
Ayaw niya.
Sir, there's a message in the chat. Direct message siya actually sa akin. So I'll just read the direct message. Okay. So at my age, I find it difficult to memorize my speech. What can I do to help me speak without my notes? Hindi ko na po siya tanungin kung anong age.
Okay. Ako rin, I never memorize my speech. Ito po, isang skill ko sa Toastmasters. Halimbawa, ako po, kasi nga sabi ko sa inyo, talaga, I'll be honest, hindi ako ginagawa ko ganito. I type, normally kasi di ba, sinusulat muna natin. So ako ginagawa ko pa rin po, even until now, I type every, lahat ng gusto kong sabihin, sinusulat ko po. Tapos, ginagawa ko doon, every morning, even in Toastmasters, sinimulan ko to, when I was, 20, 21 years old, sinimulan ko, ginagawa ko, binabasa ko, sobrang mabilis lang. Binabasa kong speech ko ng mabilisan. One time, after waking up, and another time before going to bed. I just read it. Tapos minsan, I read it aloud. Pero I don't memorize this. Binabasa ko lang. Tapos, kasi napapansin ko, alam niyo yung concept ng speed reading? Every time na binabasa mo, pag nadadaanan ng mata mo, di ba, mga mahal naming librarian, alam niyo yun, di ba? Pag nag-speed reading, pag na-absorb, nadadaanan ng mata, nagiging familiar tayo. And with repetition, by constantly doing it, pumapasok sa brain mo. At pag napunta ka na doon sa speaking time mo, I'm telling you, ang bilis na lang. Kahit hindi na ako tumitingin sa notes ko. Pero sinusulat ko lagi yan. Lagi kong binabasa. After waking up and before going to bed. I read it once. Just once lang because I don't want to overstress my brain cells. Hope makatulong din sa iyo yan. Yes, Vin? Question pa po? May Vin? Sige.
Sorry.
Okay.
How about now? Ayan. Okay. Do you need mass comm subjects in order to become an expert Toastmaster? Meron din kasi mga tao na may mga guts to speak in public, but they are mispronouncing words.
Oh, hindi po. Wala naman akong mass comm background. Alam niyo po, di ba sabi ko sa iyo, I hailed from, ang nanay ko po tindera sa palengke. Nanggaling po ako sa public school. Public school all the way from elementary to masters. Public school po ako. Okay? Galing po ako sa isang probinsya ng ang P nagiging F, ang E nagiging I. So ganun po, no? Pero of course, sabi ko, nothing is impossible. I went to Google, how to improve your craft. So sabi doon, mag-tongue twister so that you could improve your enunciation, your pronunciation. I did those things. Wala akong mass comm background. You just have to reach out to people na magaling, or even consult Google on how to address your gaps. Okay? So yun lang. Sinanap ko. So paano ko ba mas ma-memorize? Paano ko ba ma-improve yung aking PNF? Tongue twisters. Paano ko ma-improve yung aking organization? Ganun lang. Yes, Bin. Thank you po.
Okay. Sir, another question sent via direct message, an anonymous question. Okay. So pag hindi pa po ako nagsasalita, alam ko po yung sasabihin ko. But when I start speaking, all of the ideas ay nawawala. What to do po?
Nangyayari din po yan sa akin. Until now, nangyayari pa rin yan. Actually, kanina, kinakabahan ako. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, mag-ready kayo, i-type nyo, tapos basahin nyo, para at least kung maligaw kayo, ang utak nyo, kahit pa paano guided. Hindi ko siya memorize, pero, hindi pala, statement of account sa bahay. Pero, pag meron kang draft, isulat mo lang, especially if it's a major speaking engagement, write it down. Write your thoughts. Para at least, pwede mo ma-edit. Then, basahin mo sa umaga, basahin mo sa gabi. You don't need to memorize, you just have to familiarize yourself. Yes.
So, one more question, since it's almost lunchtime. Okay, wait lang, nawawala. Ayan. May question dito kanina na saktong-sakto because it's Q&A. Ito, paano po pag nasa kalagitnaan ng Q&A sa talk? Then hindi mo nasagot yung tanong or mahirap. Any tips po ba para doon?
Ako yung tulad na sinabi ko kanina, I just admit to them that I don't know, but I will be reaching out to the organizer at para i-email sa kanila yung answers. As simple as that. Ganun ginagawa ko. Hindi ako nagdudunong-dunungan. That's what I normally do.
So again, I think that's it for today. Thank you, Sir Jake, for accepting the invite na magsalita sa ating webinar for today. Okay, so virtual round of applause to Sir Jake Turan.
Salamat po. Sana may natutunan kayo, Vin. Thank you, everyone.
Send ko yung Grab voucher later. Thank you, sir.
Okay na, no? Can I leave the meeting now? Or may ano?
Okay na po. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Salamat. Thank you, everyone.
Sir. Ay, okay na po. Mag-wrap up na po. Thank you, sir. Okay. So, hi, everyone. Miss Mels, pag mag-Shopee ako, please pa-kick out na lang po ako. Sorry. We will be giving out certificates. I-post po sa chat box yung evaluation link. Okay, and after nyo po mapasa yung evaluation link, after a week, i-send na po namin yung certificates. Ayun. And I would like to thank the Regalo coordinators for today. Thank you for volunteering to organize this webinar. Okay. And I just want to ask, can you guys still hear me? Anyone?
Yes po.
Rinig pa ako. Sorry. Nagpapanik ako kasi nawala ako kanina. Ayun. Tristan, next slide. Okay. Ayun. So, Ayun, again, thank you sa mga regalo coordinator. Sorry, in-stock ko na lang kayo sa Facebook. Yan na yung mga picture na nakuha ko. Sana tama yung pictures na nakuha ko. Ayun. Ayun, thank you, Miss Bernadette, Sir Tristan, Miss Cristel, Sir Marky, Miss Mels, Miss Bernadette again, and ayun, thank you for this afternoon. Yung evaluation link ay ipopost ng ating mga coordinator sa chat box. And if ever hindi nyo makuha yung link, you can message us sa Facebook page namin for the eval link. Okay. And also this December po merong donation drive si Regalo for our community in Pampanga. So kung meron po kayong mga spare books or if you want to donate, you can message the page. Okay. So with that, thank you for attending our webinar for this morning. Sorry about the technical difficulties. And again, maraming salamat. So with that, goodbye.